the first step, reach out for tomorrow, live so
Time for an unpleasant blind guy, Conservative Byte. I'm going to read something that was just a blip in the news, but that, in my opinion, has a moral significance. It comes from FoxNews.com, but don't worry, all you progressives out there that think everything that comes from the conservative right is fake news. The Associated Press did contribute to this story, which was published February the 10th, 2017. Headline: Trump tells Chinese President U.S. will honor One China policy. President Donald Trump told Chinese President Xi Jinping the U.S. would honor the One China policy months after Trump suggested he might use American policy on Taiwan as a bargaining chip between the two sides. Trump agreed at the request of President Xi to honor the policy, the White House said in a statement late Thursday. The One China policy had been a source of friction between the U.S. and China since Trump's election in November. Trump had questioned Washington's policy on Taiwan, which shifted diplomatic recognition from self-governing Taiwan to China in 1979. He said it was open to negotiation. China bristled at the comments Trump made. Trump told the Wall Street Journal in January that everything is under negotiation, including One China. The interview indicated at the time that Trump intended to shake up the relationship between Washington and Beijing, particularly on Taiwan. Beijing was initially rattled over Trump's call with Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen, the first time an American president or president-elect had publicly spoken to Taiwan's leader in nearly 4 decades. Trump then said in a television interview that he didn't feel bound by a One China policy unless we make a deal with China having to do with other things, including trade. Chinese media also went on the attack after Trump's One China policy comments, calling the then president-elect as ignorant as a child. The Global Times published a Chinese-language editorial headlined, "Trump, please listen clearly. One China cannot be traded." The White House sought to break the ice with China, saying Wednesday Trump wrote to President Xi wishing the Chinese people greetings for the New Year and the Lantern Festival. President Trump stated he looks forward to working with President Xi to develop a constructive relationship that benefits both the United States and China, the statement said. China said it appreciated Trump's holiday greeting. When asked if Xi felt snubbed that Trump called other world leaders, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman said, "This kind of remark is meaningless." Up until Wednesday, Trump had been the only U.S. president in recent years not to have issued greetings when the holiday fell on January the 28th, triggering speculation in China as to whether it was an oversight or an intentional slight. All right, so what's the problem? The One China policy has been something the United States of America has recognized since the Carter administration. China owns much of our national debt, and we shouldn't offend them. The problem lies in the fact that to not recognize Taiwan, as well as the People's Republic of China, is tacit approval of the PRC's communist socio-economic policy and even of its human rights abuses. This is the same thing that happens when the Dalai Lama visits the White House and is forced to enter through the back door without a proper welcome. People, let me ask you a question. What would the PRC do if the United States of America did say there were 2 Chinas, one of which did not employ communism as a means of socio-economic control? What would the PRC do if, when the Dalai Lama visited the White House, we did, as a people, extend him a proper welcome? Would they send the triads over to collect the debt that they own? No. They would diplomatically moan, whine, and complain, and that basically would be it, if our nation had a moral backbone. People, it's time to recognize right and wrong when we see it, and it's time to be plain in our speech about what is and is not consistent with the morals of the people of the United States of America. Just as we want our president to name Islamic terrorism when he's talking about Islamic terrorism, I think it's time, and past time, that we took a moral stance on Taiwan. It may cost us in some way, but I would rather our government speak out for what's right than be craven in the face of evil. I think we've had enough of that. And for the Trump mega supporters that are going to come down on me like a ton of bricks for this bite, consider. How many of you complained that people on the progressive left acted like sycophants when it came to President Obama, agreeing with every decision of his because he was President Obama? As libertarians, as conservatives, we've said all along that we're different. We've said all along that it's the policy, not the person. Time for us to step up and prove it. This has been an Unpleasant Blind Guy Conservative Byte.